An airline owns 3 small aircraft, P, Q and R. One day a total of 80 passengers travelled on the 3 aircraft. The total number of passengers who travelled on aircraft P and Q was 4 times the number who travelled on aircraft R. Each passenger who travelled on aircraft P paid $200. Those who travelled on aircraft Q paid $300 each, and those who travelled on aircraft R paid $100 each. The 80 passengers paid $19,400 in total. We're going to let P be the number of passengers who flew on aircraft P, Q be the number of passengers who flew on aircraft Q, and R the number of passengers who flew on aircraft R. We want to write 3 equations relating P, Q and R that will allow a solution for all 3 variables. We know that there are 80 passengers in total. So that means that P plus Q plus R must be equal to 80. And let's call that equation 1. The total number of passengers who travelled on aircraft P and Q, so that would be P plus Q, was 4 times the number who travelled on aircraft R. So that's going to be equal to 4R, which gives us P plus Q minus 4R is equal to 0. And let's call that equation 2. Each passenger who travelled on aircraft P paid $200. So the total money received by the company for these passengers would be 200p. Those who travelled on aircraft Q paid $300 each, so that's going to be 300Q for the money received from them. And those who travelled on aircraft R paid $100 each, so that's going to be 100R, and we're told that that's equal to 19,400. So we could simplify that one by dividing through by 100 and get 2p plus 3q plus r is equal to 194, and let's call that equation 3. How many passengers flew on each aircraft? So what we need to do is solve the simultaneous equations. Now I've got a single r in these 2 equations, so if I do equation 3 take away equation 1, 2p take away p is p, 3q take away q is 2q, the r's disappear, and then 194 take away 80 is 114. I'm going to call that equation 4. Now, if I do equation 1 multiplied by 4, that gets me 4p plus 4q plus 4r is equal to 320. And then 2 is p plus q minus 4r equals 0. So adding these 2 equations gives me 5p plus 5q is equal to 320. So dividing through by 5 gives me p plus q is 64, and call that equation 5. Now if I do equation 4 take away equation 5, the p's disappear, I get left with a single q, and I've got 114 take away 64. So that's going to be 0, need to borrow from here, 11 takes 6, so that's going to be 50. So q is 50. Then equation 5 would give us that p must be equal to 14. So far, that's 64 passengers. We need to get to 80. So R is equal to 16.